Hey guys, Argent Templar here, with some thoughts on my trip to New York. So I just got back. Um, so what did I think of New York? Well, a lot of the stuff is pretty nice, but it's really makes a man think about his situation in the world. Really makes someone think about what's important. I talk about kind of money versus quality of life is kind of what I was thinking of. New York City is one of the biggest generators of wealth on the planet. Money just oozes from every pore of the city. And yet, despite all that, there's a complete disdain I find within the city for quality of life. Everyone lives in kind of shitty, cramped apartments. The food's overpriced. Everything's extremely expensive. Everything takes forever. It's hot. The subways are gross. There's no room anywhere, and just no one really seems to care because all they care about is making money. And it seems kind of a pointless project because people work 80 hours a week and make maybe $2 or $3 million a year, and then it just all goes away, renting kind of a crappy small apartment that they can barely lie down in. And this is seen by our civilization as kind of the height of human achievement, is to go to NYC to get one of these big jobs and to just sell your soul and devote your entire existence to making money. I mean, that's what the Republicans tell you. That's what the center right guys tell you. Just make money. Just work more hours. Just work harder. And I guess there's some truth in that, but at the same time, it's very humbling to go there and to see what kind of the ultimate result of all of it is. As I was going there, I found out I have an interview, and it actually seems somewhat serious this time. So we'll see. I don't know how I feel about it. I've been unemployed a while. Unlike my last job, I'd have to move for this one. I gotta say, I'm scared. I'm deeply scared about it. The idea of going and getting a full-time job and moving away from home, etc. It's frightening. It's frightening and stressful. But I guess that's something everybody is scared of, and it's not so much doing the job. It's not so much uh, that I don't think I'm capable of doing it or I'm capable of living on my own, because I've worked full time with an hour and a half commute for like a year, and I've lived on my own before. It's it's not even adulthood. It's just being ordinary. Um, People, particularly Western man, has a disdain for ordinary life. There's something in us that desires stability, but at the same time we hate it. And that's where all the conspiracy theories, that's where all the alien stuff, that's where just a lot of this wild stuff comes from. This is where like anarchism comes from and rioting and stuff. Is people just really hate ordinary life. Um, they hate it more than just about anything. And the idea of like being unemployed is awful, don't get me wrong, but the idea of getting a job and going and just working for some crappy company for the next 30 years and then dying is just hard to swallow, particularly in modern society, because we don't define ourselves by our identity anymore. We don't have a sense of community anymore. We don't have a sense of self anymore. All we ultimately have is our jobs. And I guess that's why it terrifies me getting a job. I kind of feel if I start working, I'll lose touch with all you guys. I'll stop doing videos or something. Well, I probably won't, but I'll just be so exhausted and so consumed by it. And I don't mean to complain about hard work. It's more not even work. It's just this kind of totalitarian aspect of modern employment that your job is the only thing that defines you. Your religion doesn't define you. You can't even talk about it in public anymore. Your race doesn't define you. Your nationality doesn't define you. All that defines you is your job. All that defines you is making money. But it's money devoid of a context and a purpose. And it's money that increasingly feels pointless. Increasingly feels pointless because prices just keep increasing. Um, the way the economy is structured now, everybody's told to spend constantly, and they keep giving people low interest rates and high taxes, and the combination of the two just puts you further and further in debt. And you're constantly told to want more, to take more, to grab more. And then you work more, and then you make more money, and then you give it away in taxes, and to try and maintain some semblance of the life you have before, you take on more debt, and you're encouraged to do this. And the way the economy's set up, you're not supposed to save. You're not supposed to have kids. You're not supposed to work towards something. Your entire goal in life is just to make money. To make money that you're not allowed to save and that you just give away to feed the machine. I don't know. It's just, and I just find that's kind of something that I despise about corporate culture. It's just all consumed with this idea that your employer is like your master and you're just a serf, and your employer has every right to treat you like a serf. And I guess I'm saying that's what New York City is. You have to go there. You have to pay like 10 to 30 grand a month for an apartment, or if you want to buy one, God help you, it's like $3 million. The people in the city make like I think 25% of Manhattan are millionaires. Most of the rest of the people make 250K or more a year, and they kind of live like shit. The apartment buildings are tiny. A lot of the buildings are very ill-kept, even the expensive ones. It's a pain to get around anywhere. The subway stations are absolutely filthy. The trains are not as efficient as I heard. People always talk about the vaunted New York City subway system, but I didn't find it that great. Um, there's garbage in the streets. The city smells like urine. It's full of just transients and uh, diversity, and the diversity is of the worst sort possible. Just the police have cleaned it up, but that's basically what it took. Um, it's a city devoted to making money, and to protect the ability to make money, they turned it into a police state. Not that I disagree with it. I mean, it was the only decision they could make. It was basically to just turn into and lock up or kick out everybody who got in the way of that. And they were talking about how all the ethnic communities, like the Italians, the Greeks, etc., have been kicked out of the city because they weren't rich enough, and they've been replaced by largely foreigners with lots of money. So people whose families had lived there for 3 generations got driven out by all these capitalist pigs, and they're gone. They've left the city. Little Italy doesn't exist anymore. There's a sign called Little Italy, but no one lives there anymore. I think there's a ton. There's like 300,000 Italians who got kicked out. Um, they're just all gone now. The original population just got kicked out. People whose families had built lives there. People who struggled to get by and lived pretty shitty lives, to be honest. They've been driven away, and all in the name of money. I'm not trying to sound like a socialist here, but when I went there and when I heard the amount of money people pay for anything there, I kind of understood why Occupy Wall Street hate these people. Um, and I kind of hate them too, because I think they're corrosive on our society. I think and I think this is kind of the pathetic thing about it, is they've mortgaged our future. These assholes are the ones who support open borders, who support multiculturalism, diversity, who are against religiosity, who've brought us basically post-modernity. And all they got for it was like a shitty studio apartment that's where you can smells like urine. I mean, it's pathetic. And this is the highest level of our civilization. And this is what we're all supposed to aspire to. We're supposed to aspire to working a shitty job that completely defines us. Not having a family because you can't afford a family anymore because taxes are too high and rent's too damn high. And if you want to go live somewhere without rent, that the place where you could afford, then you have to drive 2 hours. And you just have to do that, and if you don't do that, then you can just go and starve, or you can go on welfare. And to some extent, I don't know how much I can really blame some of the people on welfare. I mean, it's pretty shitty. People say, "Oh, that's just life," etc. I guess, but there's no reason. It's just so nihilistic. It's just so purposeless. Um, I think people used to work for something. They used to get married young and they'd work for a family, and it used to be possible to raise a family. I don't know how I'd even afford a family. My family can barely afford to get by a lot of the time, and my family makes pretty good money. But it's so expensive, and it just gets more and more expensive when we get crammed into these tiny boxes. And I wouldn't mind living in an apartment. I don't need a lot of space, but it's just looking at that as your highest aspiration, to go work 80 hours a week for some shitty finance company that's screwing people, um, and then living in a box and wasting money on just random crap. I don't know, and if you want to do anything to improve your situation, you burn through all your money. Because they're talking about how people had to fly in helicopters to like Long Island to the beach. Like, what the fuck is that? That's just weird. That's twisted. So I don't know. I guess I'll get a job, but I kind of always have a very mercenary view of looking at work. Um, I just see it as a way to make money, to enable me to enjoy other things I enjoy. Uh, to give me, allow me to enjoy my religion, my books, my studying. Yeah, video games. I like video games too. Um, Talking with you guys, I really enjoy doing this channel and making these videos. Um, Talking to my friends, that kind of thing. Maybe eventually finding a nice girl, but I don't know, I have this lack of desire to be defined by my job and just have my entire life consumed by it. Maybe that makes me lazy. Maybe it makes me unappreciative. I don't know. I'm just always scared that if I get a full-time job, it will just use me until there's nothing of the person I used to be left. Because I look at New York, and I see a city whose soul has been sold, whose essence is being traded away at the stock exchange for diversity, and it's not even the diversity anymore. New York's actually less multicultural, significantly less multicultural than Toronto is. There's a much stronger sense of identity. Um, but just it's just an identity solely based on money and material possessions and nothing more. It's just very disturbing, and I can see myself and I can see the reflection of all of us in post-modernity in this city, in this materialism, I guess you could say. I'm reminded of, and I'll leave you with this, the book of Ecclesiastes. Vanity, vanity, all is vanity. And that's what New York is in a sense. Just a great vanity. This is Argent Templar signing out.